Hello, hello. We are live. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, my people, my folks. Hey, y'all. Beyond the Surface with Sharon. I am your host, Sharon. I am here waiting for you guys to come on. I have a few announcements to make, so I'm going to let you guys come on in a little bit. Here, you come in the comments and say, hey. Let me know you're here so I can shout you out, see where you're from, see what you're doing. I have some good current affairs to talk about today. So I love y'all to come on. When you on, say hey in the comments so I can shout you out. Let me see who's here. Beyond the Surface with Sharon. I welcome new viewers. I welcome my people that ride every week. Welcome the people that come whenever you come. I appreciate people who watch on the replay. You don't even have to watch live. If you watch the replay, I appreciate y'all too. I really do. We have been getting a lot of views for these shows this month. We are closing out, what is it, 8/29? We are closing out our educational month, which has been a blessing. Of course, you know, Mom Duke's got support. We are closing out our education month with Kathleen McCarron, a girl. Guys, amazing person. So once you are here in the comments, say hi. Say hi to me. Come on, you know when you come in people's house, you gotta speak. Say hi. Let me see who's here. You can chit chat so I can talk to y'all. One of these current affairs. For those who are watching and who are new, welcome to Beyond the Surface with Sharon podcast. I'm your host, Sharon. On this podcast, we talk about life, love, and family. So today, we're talking about family. After this family, we're talking about school. We want to educate our parents, our guardians, and give our kids some tools, right, to go back to school. Hey, King. Hey, Boo. Some tools to go back to school with. So yes, we are here. We're trying to encourage and empower. We want to enlighten and give information. We want to keep you guys informed about what's going on in our community. So I want to give you guys like a recap of said take my time. Mr. Producer. Mr. Producer said take your time, like we in church. Episode 14. So in our educational month, we talked to Frances Gonzalez. She is a social worker who works in a school, not a school social worker. Clear that up for us. She talked about anxiety and how to help our children identify and handle social and emotional learning. She was amazing. Episode 14. Don't forget her. She talked about the book that's on Amazon, A Little Spot of Emotion. It's a book set and it deals with anger, anxiety, peacefulness, happiness, sadness, confidence, love, and scribble emotions. So if you have not ordered that book, gotten the book, send it to the grandparents. Have the grandparents buy it for your kids. It is a wonderful, wonderful tool to have for your kids. So yes, the book is called A Little Spot of Emotion. Book set. It is on Amazon. That was our girl, Frances Gonzalez. She's our school social worker who works in school. Next, we had the X Factor, right? We had Dr. Lisa Knox Brown. She came on and she told us about the biases in our schools with and how to advocate for our children, right? About advocacy. Also, Frances Gonzalez talked about teaching the children to advocate for themselves. So a lot of this school, education month has been about advocating, whether it's parents advocating and children advocating. Dr. Brown talked about systematic racism that leads to oppressive conditions and the biases that are in school and how it can be normalized as a barrier. So yes, y'all need to go watch that episode. It's 15. So 15. The next episode was 16, which was moi, and you. Me and you, right? We talked together. And you guys came on And we discussed like some real hacks for parents, because we needed to know the information of how to get ready in the morning, how to prepare lunch, how to get these school clothes ready with multiple kids, with running a whole family. So I want to give you like the Cliff Notes version, but I would like you to go back and watch number 16, because there was some amazing hacks on there. One family had a color-coded calendar for their family activities. Each person had their own color, and on the calendar, the color and the activity was listed, and that would let the whole family know where the people were, where the family members were. So we like that. We actually started doing that on our calendar at home. So that was a great tool, Jen. Thank you so much. Ironing the clothes on Sunday and then putting them on the couch the day before was another hack. Chores, giving the kids a chore chart and doing chores, and then giving them like some type of incentive, right? You do the chores, here's an incentive. You win something, you get something at the end. So that was good. What else? Oh, you know what? I read that you should drink water when you wake up. Like you should start your day with water, bottled water, glass of water, whatever the case is. But to wake up your organs in the morning, you should start with water, and then maybe try to stretch. Like I try to stretch in the morning, over my head, touch my toes, just to kind of get my body moving and wake my body up. And also we talked about affirmations, putting affirmations on the mirror while they're brushing their teeth in the morning, give them affirmations to read, so that way they can encourage and empower themselves. So that's all we have. We have a school administrator here today, so she is going to round out our educational month. What else is going on in the news? Oh, guys, listen. New Jersey Transit, your tax dollars. New Jersey Transit is free. Buses, trains, and light rails are free for you to get on until Monday, September 2nd. Free. So catch the bus to New York, catch the bus to Wildwood, catch the train, wherever you want to catch the train. Now it's a good time to take your kids somewhere. Or, go do love, go date, go on a date. We did catch the bus. We did catch the bus one time, and we caught the bus to New York. So yeah, and we've caught the train. I've caught the train a few times to go to New York on Broadway to Times Square. So if it's free, it's for me. I like something free. What else is going on? I would also like to, if y'all are here, say hi in the comments so I can see you and give you a shout out. Say hi in the comments. Let me know you're here. New people, returnees. Let me know you guys are here. I appreciate you guys coming on. Yes, good evening, ma'am. What else are we going to talk about? Oh, did y'all see the Cam Newton interview with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant? Right? Hey, Jess. Hi. So yes, did y'all see that Cam Newton interview? So it was on Cam Newton interview was on YouTube, and him and Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, I guess she interviewed him, and they talked about broken homes and how he has these ladies that he has kids with, and he's saying that it's not a broken home because he doesn't consider it broken. And she was telling him, like, if you're not present in the home, you can't be in all the homes at the same time. So something is broken in each one of them. She was in there wearing them out. So if you guys want to go check that out, yes, let's go check that out. It was a really good interview. Hey, so our affirmation. Let's get to our affirmation of the day. I think it deals with school. Well, it does deal with school. It says, every home is a university. Every home is a university, and the parents are the teachers, right? And that's pretty much life. Every home is a university, and parents are teachers. Every day, parents are teaching their kids. You teach your kids you show them how to walk, you show them how to brush their teeth. You're teaching them morals. You're teaching them how to eat. You teach them how to walk. So you are teaching them how to act. So your house literally is a university. And it continues as, speak to your children as if they are the wisest, bravest, kindest, most wonderful human beings on earth. For what they believe is what they will become. I like that. For what they believe is what they will become. I love that. So it says, speak to your children as if they are the wisest, bravest, kindest, most wonderful human beings on earth. For what they believe is what they will become. That's even good for adults. You know what I mean? You are supposed to like speak into your life and manifest things. So I think that's amazing to teach your kids, that self, because, you know, that's how I'm here. That's me speaking life right into this podcast. And here we are, y'all. We are on episode 17. Like, who even knew? May 9th. Who knew? Like, we were going to get, God knew. I can't even say who knew. God knew. God definitely knew. And you know what? I'm riding with him wherever he take me. So y'all keep me in prayer, because I really get some amazing and great feedback from this show. So yeah. Next we're going to bring on our guest. It's the wonderful Miss Kathleen McCarron. Hey girl. Hey. Hi, how are you? Good. Hand claps. Come on. Yes. So, yes, hand claps. Yes. So that's what I love about the show. It's very freestyle. So for those who don't know, Kathleen, we went to high school together. Yes. Yeah. And Kathleen was the thickums on the, are you covering it? Kathleen was the thickums on the cheerleading squad. So you probably don't even know this, but you were definitely a representation of our body shape when you were cheering. And we Black girls and brown girls would always say, oh, she's shaped like us. We should be able to do what she's doing. Like, it always gave us a feel good that you were there and you were representative of our body type. So yeah, that was so cool. I don't even know if I've ever said that to you.
No. And I still have body dysmorphia, honestly. It's just, I think now more than ever, not being stick thin and having muscles and curves, and I think it's more normalized now. And I wish I could tell my 16-year-old self that it was okay, and to appreciate all the things that my body was able to do and still does for me. So I hear you.
You was all though, honey. You was in there with the curves and the thighs, and we was like, yes, girl. She over here flipping and all of this, and here we are. We're like, okay, well, she's built like us.
I remember Art Stubbs. He was in class with me one time, and he said, I wish I had your calves. So yeah. And you know what? It took me to a journey of fitness, and I realized that I was, not going to be skinny. I was just going to always, that's not the way I was made. I was made to build muscle, and that's my makeup. And I think I've finally accepted that when I'm conscious, but in my subconscious, I still see that girl, even though I'm no longer that girl. It's weird. It's the mind can do that to you. If, like you were saying, those affirmations, I didn't do that when I was younger, and I wish I would have. I wish I would have talked to myself the way I talked to my best friend.
Right, because you can encourage someone else, but you don't give yourself that same encouragement. Had we had these tools though, right?
Yeah.
I think we would have been so far along, like in our journey, even with body image and being okay with who you are. what you look like. It's okay to be different.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
All of that. So, you want to introduce yourself for the folks who's watching?
Sure. So, I'm Kathleen McCarron. I was born and raised in Mobile. I still live here with my family, with my husband. Together, we are a blended family. Um, my husband, Sean, has two boys, Sean and Sheen. Sean, Pat, that's my oldest. He's 27. He's a paratrooper in the Army, currently serving in Arizona, living in Arizona. My son Shane just graduated, and he is an engineer. Just bought his first house, so we're so proud of him. Um, my daughter Abby, she's 24. She's an EMT. She's going back to school. She just signed up to go back to school to be a paramedic. So I'm super proud and excited for her. And she's just amazing at her job. I don't know how she does that at all. She did not get that from me.
Right, the blood, the gore.
Oh no, I'm not good with that. I did try that for like a hot second, and during a summer, I was a floor hostess in a hospital, and the patients were comforting me because I said, "This isn't how it
That would be me. I'm like, oh, what a band-aid.
made out to be a nurse." That's for sure. And then I have a 14-year-old. Sorry, she just turned 15. She's going to be a sophomore at the high school in Mobile. She's my little softball player and my amazing artist, way beyond her years. And then I have my little Quinny. He is going to be 8 in September, and he is our little miracle baby. Yes, I had him at 44 years old, and turned 45 a month after he was born. So, I would just keep having them, every 9 years, but so Sean said we had to stop with Quinn, but no, it's never dull here. I can say that. So we have a full house, full of love, um, full of noise, mess, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And through all that, like I said, I tried. I went to school. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a nurse or teacher. And after that little stint I think I lasted a month in the hospital. I changed my major and went for liberal studies and did the alternate route to get my teaching degree. I started out in a private school 31 years ago. So this is my 31st year in the education field. Yeah, I know. I can't believe it. It went by really quickly. And then after that, I got a teaching job in Millville as a teacher. I did a little bit of everything actually in Millville. So I worked in a 2nd through 5th grade self-contained special ed room. It was more of a behavior disorder classroom. I did a really short stint in high school. I did remedial math and English while I was also coaching the freshman and junior cheerleading squad, which was so much fun. I missed that. When I went to teach in Child Family Center at the preschool, we were all considered inclusion room in Millville. They had the foresight to realize that separating our kiddos with IEPs and special needs maybe isn't always the best placement. So we did away with our preschool disabled classrooms, and we were all pretty much considered inclusion classrooms. So I did that for 19 years, I think, in Millville. Left Millville while I was going back to school for my administrator's degree, and I knew I had to leave my comfort zone. Which was hard. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done, leaving Millville. It's my town, my hometown. Was actually the preschool I went to when I was little. Not the same brick and mortar, but, same school. And I went off to Pittsgrove Township, and I it was called the Community Parent Involvement Specialist. So that was community outreach. I had to facilitate their advisory council for early childhood, which was preschool through third grade, trying to build programs and help with that vertical articulation across the grade levels to make sure it flows nicely and get all the stakeholders' input. Parent workshops on anything and everything they had questions on, whether it was academic or behavior or, how to build a schedule at home to help the kiddos get to bed or help them get ready in the morning. And I was also the preschool interventionist. So I dealt with, the challenging behaviors and helped them, helped coach teachers through that as well as parents. And then I had to grow a little more. So left a school district that I loved again, and that was really hard. And I went to teach in Glassboro in Gloucester County, or not teach, but I became the preschool instructional coach there, which dealt with helping teachers with curriculum and instruction and strategies. And I was also the interventionist there as well for the challenging behaviors. And then I finally got my my dream job. It's always been a goal of mine to become an administrator. So I am currently a school administrator in New Jersey. And I actually oversee all of those jobs that I used to do. So it's really cool. It's come full circle. But I am just happy to be here. Yeah, and I can talk about pretty much anything. So any question anybody has, I've pretty much done it, whether as a teacher, coach, administrator, or a parent.
Because I like that you said that. Like you have really done. You started from the bottom. Now you're at the top. Who's that? That's Drake, right? Started from the bottom. Now we're here. So you have done everything, and you have the parents' perspective. You have both perspectives of everything. Can you give us a little information about IEP and who's that for and who it works for?
So IEP is an individual education plan, and that is for kiddos who have learning disabilities, whether it's dyslexia, dysgraphia. It could be autism if there's multiple things there, anything that impedes their learning. For an IEP, they do have to go through, it's to make sure they qualify. They have to be able to qualify for services. And that is related services like speech, OT, PT, things like that. Or in extreme cases, they might have to be in a self-contained classroom, depending on the severity of their learning disability or impairment.
I'll see a letter in a number in. I'm like, what's his name? Theo, right? Isn't that Theo? Theo was on the Huxtables. I think he had dyslexia, and they couldn't figure out what was going with him. So I didn't know that was part of it. I really thought IEP was just, the autistic kids, and that was it. But it's like it's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot under that. There's a lot under the umbrella of autism. We used to call it autism, and then it started breaking into little pieces. Like if they were high functioning, they called it Asperger's, and now it's ASD or neurodivergent is now kind of the term we use. And honestly, when you think about it, I honestly think we all have a little piece of that.
My family says that. We're like, oh, my autism is kicking in.
Yes, I'm like,
oh, something's not clicking here.
Yeah, like I used to stim when I was younger. I'd come home from school and I would kind of rock. And I'm like, yeah, I think I was on this, I'm on the spectrum. I developed coping mechanisms. And that's what it's all about. IEPs are to help kids by giving them accommodations and modifications to help them on their educational journey, to give them a fair playing field.
disabilities or challenges, should they go to the teachers? Who should parents like go to?
So I will always tell you, when my son was 16 months old, I saw him stimming, which is, he was doing things with his hands and his face. That he was excited, but I've been around autism a lot. And when I said something to the doctor, he's like, "Oh, he's too little. He's too little." So I'm always going to say this, absolutely. If you have any questions, always go to your pediatrician. But if you feel that maybe they're not hearing you, or you just have that gut feeling, don't stop there. Something in my gut told me there's something there. And consequently, Quinn stopped talking at 18 months. He was saying full sentences, which turned out to be what they call echoalia. He was just repeating what he heard. He wasn't really having conversational sentences. So he was just repeating what he heard his parent, us say. So at that point, I call it early intervention. So that's one of the things what's one of the resources I'll put in the comments at the end, because again, the earlier the better. I can't stress that enough. The earlier the better. Anytime you think that there is a learning disability or something just doesn't seem right, the earlier you do early intervention, that's why it's called early intervention, the greater the chances of, having those kiddos, have the best outcome.
And I love that you advocated for Quinn, right? So you are saying they was like, oh, nothing's really going on, but you as a parent, you're like, I know something isn't right. And you advocated to your primary physician first.
Right.
What's the question? Early intervention is until 3 years old, correct?
Yeah.
Or has it been expanded?
No. So early intervention will end at 3 years old. Once that child turns 3, even if it's in the middle of the school year, they're eligible to go into a preschool classroom. And all schools will hold those positions for those early intervention kiddos, knowing that they could enter at any time. So those preschool classrooms always leave 2 to 3 slots for those kids that are going to be turning 3 throughout the year. Even if it's May and they turn 3, they're eligible to receive schooling and services.
Okay, that's interesting. So all you parents, what someone said, same thing with my nephew when he was young, with repeating what we were saying. My sister did the same thing and went to his primary, and he was diagnosed it too. But yes, Karen, that is advocating, and I love that parents, aren't waiting. You know what I mean? You're processing and going to the doctor like on your own. You're not waiting for them. Oh, we'll wait and see what the school says. What do you say to parents who are going to wait?
I think there's a stigmatism around that, IEP or being classified or being targeted or being marked. And, I think we have to change and do a mind shift on that, because that's not what an IEP is, or that is not what classified is. It's about equaling that playing field and giving your kids what they deserve. You wouldn't deprive them of a medication that's going to help them or that they need, right? So you don't want to deprive them of modifications or accommodations that are going to help them. And not just academically, like social, emotionally, being able to function and play with other kids and, do all those things and not miss out on those experiences. So, don't be afraid to reach out and, get that classification or that diagnosis.
And the help, right? Because it helps. So how long does the IEP stay on? Does it stay on the whole entire school until college?
It can stay with them. It is reviewed every year. There's an annual review to review the goals. Your case managers are also monitoring that along with teachers. But always be a very involved parent. Make sure that these things are taking place.
Right.
Make sure, I'm going to tell you, just as a mama, make sure you reach out to your teachers the first week. And this is coming from a teacher and a mom. There's a lot that teachers have to know about their kids that first week that are critical.
Right.
Allergies. Reach out to your teacher. Let them know your child is allergic to this day one, first day. Make sure they know that. Make sure they know if your child has an IEP. Give them a couple bullets. IEPs are long documents. Those
Yeah.
goals, sometimes there's a lot to read, and they might have 3 kids in there with an IEP. So always advocate. Teachers really do their best to, go through all that prior to the kids coming in. But being realistic, teachers start September 2nd. That is when their contract their contract starts the 1st. But they come in after Labor Day and they don't have a lot of time. So they're getting their classroom ready. They're trying to create that beautiful learning environment for our students. And they're also trying to, look in their files and, get that background information. But advocate and always reach out if they don't reach out to you, and let them know what are the most important things to know about your child.
So Jesse's saying you should definitely communicate with the teachers, the bus drivers, the bus aide, like keep in contact. You have to be present with everyone and involved, because I think the teachers, and you hate to say it, but if you are a present parent, they pay more attention, right? They're like, okay, well, this parent is here, and I know Mrs. Colson, she's going to come in and she's going to be readily available and I can get in touch with her. So it's important to advocate for your kid, but also for the parent to be involved.
Yes. And
so can you tell us?
Notice. Your kids do notice.
The kids notice.
They do. And it really does. It does create a different bond with you as the parent and the child when they see you. It lets them know that education is important because you're there. It must be important if my mom is here or my dad is here or my grandmom's here.
So 504's, I have never heard of a 504. Can you tell me what that is, or tell us what that is?
Sure. So a 504 is when there is a physical or mental disability. So it could be physical, could be with your sight, hearing, your mobility, your physical mobility. It could be mental, anxiety, depression, anything like that. ADHD is not really considered a learning disability, but it is an attention issue. So that can also go under that 504. And it does the same thing. It's just as an IEP, it gives you those accommodations with your environment, or your modifications and your accommodations. So your modifications would be to your instruction. And then those accommodations might be if it's somebody who is maybe hard of hearing, it might be the teacher wears something like you're wearing, where it goes right into the student's earpiece, so that blocks out the background noise. So that's what a 504 does. It is, again, it levels that playing field for your student.
I like that. I don't know if I've ever even heard of, I think I've seen kids who've had like the hearing aids, but I don't know if I've ever seen like the teachers. So I guess that probably would have been something. How can parents get more information with, so 504, should they already have something from like their physician with that?
Yes, you're gonna need documentation, and it could be from if it's physical, it would be maybe from your developmental pediatrician, family doctor. If it is something other than that, it might be like an ENT, a hearing specialist, an eye doctor, anything like that. You need documentation to be able to, meet the criteria. But they're not hard to get, as long as you have that documentation. And again, you're involved in the IEP process and the 504 process. You actually sit down with those teams and develop them together with your team, because you know your child the best. So, make sure that, you come prepared to those meetings, with some things, because they're going to say, well, what works for you at home? What is an incentive for them, or, what are their interests? So come ready to talk about those things. And then also, what are your hopes for your child that year? Just have a goal in mind.
When you have the IEPs and you go to the meeting, they're going to want the parents to have some goal and some type of plan of action that will match the schools. Is that what you're saying?
No, it doesn't necessarily have to match the school, but you should definitely be involved in creating that plan. And if you're not comfortable with it, you have to let them know. If you don't agree, tell them what you're thinking, and you guys will work it out together. Like if you really feel like maybe, you know, maybe you're seeing something with their fine motor. You can always request, if it's not already been done, for an OT eval. Those types of things. Or you're not sure why they didn't qualify for speech, which is tricky. Speech is a tricky one. It's more of, a lot of people think to qualify for speech services, it's that articulation where kids can't pronounce letters and words, but it's actually more of the receptive and expressive language, like being able to comprehend and understand language as well as express. So, but definitely come in and advocate for what you're seeing. They need to know that information, because we also know that kids don't always show the teachers what they know. I remember being little and I was so shy, or I was probably, I think I'm definitely on the spectrum, but I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't read out loud. So I remember being put in, I could read, but I didn't ever read for my teacher. I would not. So I was put in like a really low reading group when I was little. And I remember being really upset about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm reading like chapter books at home and I'm in kindergarten, but I'm reading like, those sight words still that I've been reading for 3 years. So, yeah, always come prepared.
And just said, be willing to listen, right? To listen to.
Yes. I mean, they come with a wealth of knowledge, your CST team. And they, your LDTC, which is your learning consultant, usually leads that meeting. But you're on that team, you're gonna have the child's teacher, probably an administrator, and depending on what the circumstances are, there could be, the OT, which is the occupational therapist. You could have a physical therapist there, a speech therapist or pathologist. So whoever needs to be at that meeting to provide services for your student will be at that meeting. So they'll each tell you, what their evaluation showed.
Okay. And after this meeting happens, and you as a parent, you sit there and there becomes like a plan. How often are you meeting with this team?
So, I mean, you can call a meeting whenever you want. I mean, I don't want to say whenever, as in like every day or every week. But so you'll have an annual review. But if before that annual review comes up, and that's usually from the initial date of the inception of the IEP, or typically at the end of the year, you'll have that annual review to get ready for the next year, to make sure that all of those goals are in place for the following year. If you have questions, your CST will, I'm sure, will always, someone from the team will always be willing to speak with you. It might not be like a formal, evaluation meeting or planning meeting, but, always, from my perspective as a parent and an administrator, they're always willing. I mean, they don't get into that field unless they love kids and love what they do. So it's a tough job, a lot of hours, and you know, they're usually always very open to, you know, taking that phone call or meeting.
Okay, guys, you heard that. Be involved. Call, email, go up to the school, like show up. The teachers, I think teachers like that when the parents are present.
Yeah.
Teachers love when the parents are present. And just said, build a relationship with your child's team. That way you can communicate, right, effectively.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So IEPs, 504. So what do parents really need to know about curriculum? Because I really don't remember like my mom knowing what was going on with curriculum. What do parents really need to know about curriculum?
Here's the really hard part, um, for us older parents, right? Because we used to bring books home, and you know, if I needed help, you know, I have the book. My parents could look at it. Um, as you know, parents now that everything is on the computer, um, but you can request that in an IEP that they bring home a book instead of doing it on the computer if you feel that they need that. Just a little FYI. But I think that makes it challenging for parents to help with homework sometimes. Um, and you know, there now we have like parent portals where we can go in. But I know like my daughter, she'll say, "Oh, but that's not up to date. I'm not missing that anymore." Or so again, it's just, you know, for the little ones, um, lots of conversations, lots of open communication with the teacher. You don't want to find out that they're struggling in math when, you know, the marking period's almost over. And it's not about the grades, right? It's about, are they learning the material? Do they need a reteach? Do they need help? So, you know, just again, it all comes back to that communication piece and that relationship with your child's teacher. It's a little bit different as they get older. You know, they're going to have 7, 8 teachers in middle school. And depending on what school district they go to for high school, some do block scheduling. So they might have 4 teachers. Others might have like, I know some charter schools have 11 periods. So yeah, so you know, that's tough to manage. But you know, we're also teaching kids to you know, have student agency and advocate for themselves, like you were talking about in your other series. So it's just, again, it comes back to being involved. Asking your teachers what curriculum they're using for math. Usually at back to school night, they'll kind of rattle it off sometimes for you. Like, we're using this for ELA, we're using this for math. That's our curriculum. You know, maybe ask, instead of rattling it off, just say, could you write down, like, how do I access that on the computer if I need to help my student? Like, how can I get resources for that curriculum? Because most curriculums do have a parent help section that you can log into. So it's just that open communication with your teachers.
So there are no books.
What kind of books?
School. School. So they don't have books in the book bag?
No.
Like they don't have like an English book, a math book, science, social studies. My God, what? Y'all see how far removed I am. Wow. So why don't like that? That's not the way.
The little guys, I would say, they still use workbooks in the lower grades. They're still, hopefully, most classes are having physical books for kids to read. But as they start to enter that, you know, 3rd, 4th, 5th especially fourth and fifth, getting them ready for middle school, it's pretty much all digital.
How are they learning on a laptop in school?
Most likely it
This
is.
is news to me. I think it's news to a few people. Like I'm a little shocked that they're those heavy books. I mean, God bless our shoulders and stuff, but they don't have books. Shocked. I'm shocked. As you can see, I didn't know that.
Yes.
So so do the kids have tablets and stuff? Like where or
They
the teachers are printing off
tablets or Chromebooks. Yeah.
and they have these printed off workbooks that they're using in the classroom?
There's still worksheets and dittos and things like that. But as far as like, actual textbooks, not really.
So when did that start? Like how old is that you know of?
Um, you know, I, I want to say when COVID came along and schools were given, it's called ESSER funds or funds to um, meet the needs of students when we were out of the physical brick and mortar schools and we had to turn virtual very quickly. We realized that we weren't prepared at all for a pandemic. I mean, who thought that would ever happen? And I remember I wasn't in Glassboro that long and we're like, oh my God, like, how do we do this with preschool? How are we going to give them, the same education? Everything is hands-on, how are we going to do this? And I have to say, teachers amaze me. I mean, teachers that have, they're not tech savvy, but they figured it out. They were having virtual classrooms, they were interactive. But I think that kind of started to change the way we did education, especially for younger kids. We saw that that is where we are. I mean, we're also in a preschool level figuring out how do we integrate artificial intelligence into our classrooms because we have to keep up with technology, with a limit, but we have to stay ahead of our kids. But they're constantly 8 steps in front of us with technology, but we have to try. We certainly do have to try, to keep up with all of that. So I think that was kind of one of the big shifts in using technology so much. I don't know how I feel about it.
How I feel about it either. Even as a school administrator, as a parent, how do you feel?
I'm old.
Right?
I
feel like I need to
dog ear my pages, like I dog ear stuff that I have to come back to. I'm highlighting, I remember just being in college, like I was still writing rough drafts by hand for my papers. And then once they were perfect, I would, type them and send them in. And
have no books in high school, but then they go to college and have books.
Sometimes they will, but no. Actually, they are given the option usually to buy a book or to buy the PDF of that book, which is virtual. So my son, he works better on the computer. He never bought a college book that was physical his whole 4 years for engineering.
That is so bizarre.
Yeah.
Okay. I know America is a little, we're not the fastest with the educational series or system like, the other countries. But yeah, they're probably doing it already. And here we are, COVID forced us into it. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay. So curriculum. So parents should go to back to school night.
Absolutely.
See what's going on with the teacher, introduce yourselves, go in, should they leave phone numbers and all of that or?
I
We're
say
in that portal.
get the teacher's email and communicate frequently. Check in at least once a week. Not asking like, a grocery list of things, but what are you most concerned about? Or what do you want to know? Sometimes it's just like, how can I help my child? Where is he struggling? And also, what is he good at? Like, how can I build him up? What is his strength? They're the two things that I think parents need to know.
Questions in the comments, folks. We have a question that says, which is cheaper? Is the book cheaper or the PDF? Do you know that?
I don't know. Sometimes with college, I believe sometimes that the PDF is included in your course price. So you've already paid for it. At least in my experience as a college student, when I went back to school, of course I didn't care about the extra money because I'm old and I needed to highlight and do all that stuff and put sticky notes on pages and do all that. But I think if I remember correctly, it was included in my course price. I don't know if every college is like that, but in high school, it's free. I mean, the kids aren't buying those. So
we have a comment from our viewer. Karen says, my sister was always encouraged to invite family members to these IEP meetings via Zoom, and we always did. We learned so much as a family about how hard her sister advocates for her son, and we could assist her and my nephew as a village and find out what he's learning, as well as what our interactions with my nephew is and was. It's fascinating. So do you encourage that? Like, have you experienced that?
I have not experienced that, but anyone that is going to care for that child, I think it's important for them to know that and to also give that input. You might have like, what if you have a single mom, and the reality is that child is staying with, an aunt for the majority of their wakeful hours. I think that's important because that aunt is going to be able to also give a different perspective or, give important information. You can also take advocates with you. If there's something you're not agreeing on with the IEP, perhaps you feel like your child would qualify for services and maybe your child study team is saying they don't qualify and you don't agree, or you can always go for an advocate. And there are some online that you could search, and I'll see if I can find some good ones too, some websites, but you can bring advocates for you. So it might be like for autism, there might be an advocate you can bring with you. And most of the time it's a small fee. And sometimes I think it can be free. I'm not really sure because I haven't done that side of it, but I've had friends that have done that. Can you say that again? I can't hear you, Sharon.
Oh, I said, is it like a state website that you go on?
No, it's not. It's not from the Department of Education. They are private.
Someone in the comments said both my children had 504s throughout elementary and high school in New Jersey and Texas. So the 504s, there are not only physical, but also for sight and also for hearing.
Right.
So
mental disabilities also, any kind of mental diagnoses.
Oh, nice. So just so you guys can recap, we are talking IEPs, right? We're talking IEPs, 504s, and curriculum. So if you have any comments for our school administrator, Kat is here, and she is here to answer your questions. Put them in the comments. She is a wealth, as you have heard, a wealth of knowledge. She has teacher, right? She's in the same school district. She's been a teacher. She's been in a few school districts, but now she is a school administrator. She worked her way up. You went back to school
I did.
as an adult,
I
right?
thought I started, I believe I was 40 when I started back for my master's.
So guys, it's never too late, right?
Nope, never
Yeah.
too late.
Because that was your dream. You
It,
didn't want to just be a teacher.
I did not. I still want more, but I want more time with my kids. So I'm going to school. My brother always said, "Aren't you a doctor?" Yeah, like you've been going to school since you were 5. I was like,
Like
no.
3 more years, right? 3 more
I thought
years.
I thought I would go back for my doctorate, but I think I'm done.
Okay. Well, I got the doctor friends on here. So
Yeah,
let me know. I'll put you in touch and they doctor everybody. My people
don't
are. So
tempt me.
listen. My friends always a lot of my friends go back to school. God bless them. God bless y'all for using your brain. It is definitely never too late. Yeah. I'll put you girl, let me know. Sean got probably like shush. Nothing else. But yes, parents need to make sure that when the child goes to college, they should register for accommodations at the disabilities office. Oh, that's so good information.
You can that absolutely, absolutely. You can have an IEP and a 504.
Oh, that's what I was wondering if it transferred, but you have to.
And some workplaces you can also have a 504 when you're an adult. Yes, ma'am.
You know a lot, Kat, here. So even at work, they have those accommodations
Yeah,
for
you can.
disabilities.
You can. Oh, I just forgot what I was going to say. Oh, so also, so kids who have, let's say they're like cognitive, moderate, severe, autistic, those kiddos can also possibly qualify to have public schooling until they age out at 21. So that's something a lot of parents might not know. So that's important as they're entering high school, to keep that in mind. And a lot of schools have tech programs where they're preparing them for, jobs out in the community. Our school where I am, we have a school store that they run, a bakery. They like a little coffee shop. They actually make the food, serve the food. They run the school store, so they're learning skills so that they can have a job out in the community and be successful as a citizen. So that's very important as your kids are entering high school. If they do have, uh, a severe, cognitive disability, that is something to consider and advocate for.
I love that. So they can, go to the tech and get jobs and learn
Well,
some
even
skills.
in a public high school, they are, and if your school district doesn't have that, I believe they have to pay to have them attend like tuition based to go to a school that will provide what your student needs. But most schools do accommodate that.
Got you. Got you. Kat, you got a lot here. You know a lot about a lot. But
Learning every day. I've had some really great people around me. Um, I have to give a shout out to, Joanne Burns and Chris Barless and all of the people in my career that really taught me so much. My principal, Loretta Elwell in Pittsgrove, like they took me under their wing and, kind of encouraged me to keep going and pursue higher education and do this.
I am so happy that you pursued. I'm happy that you have this blended family, right? We're not going to call it broken, we'll call it blended. This blended family, that you have all of this love for, like you are well prepared for this family with your educational knowledge, with your life Your life knowledge. I feel like I love you and Sean over there. Listen, y'all, Kat has a beach house. Okay. But listen, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it, right? Has a beach house in OBX, right?
Yep.
Yes, beach house, y'all. If you need a beach house, is that South Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Clearly,
Yeah.
I've never been.
Yeah. It's
But
in Kill Devil Hills.
Pebble Hills, it's beautiful, beautiful. Put the link in the chat. Somebody, you, Sean, after, later. Put the link in the chat, y'all. She rents this beach house out. It's amazing, amazing. Just
Thanks. When are
sidebar
you and Ron gonna go? Take a little
there. He
romance.
take me somewhere.
I want to go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm ready.
When he takes me somewhere
Somewhere
else.
that I haven't taken him. Out of the thousands of places we've been.
You've been nowhere. You poor thing.
I'm so upset and so sad
So left out.
over here. Oh, Deanna said, are there resources for schools and colleges that they won't tell you unless you ask? Like, what do you know? Some tools, some resources
For schools and colleges. What kind of resources?
What kind of resources are you saying?
Is this your sister?
Yes, because I know her son goes to college, and I believe he has like some
Yes,
some
I follow him, and he is a little beacon. He's not a little beacon of light anymore. He's a big beacon of light. And watching him grow up, although it was mostly through the computer, first talking to your sister in the very beginning stages when he was first diagnosed. And then, I remember he was trying out for plays and then singing in public. And I'm like, oh my gosh, crazy, just flourish. And it was just so assuring for me as a mama to see that, because you go through a grieving process, and I don't think unless you go through it, I don't think people realize when you're told your child might have Down syndrome, or it's very evident when that child is born that there's a disability or there's something wrong. But autism, they're born looking typical, and sometimes they develop typically up until a certain age. So there's that grieving process that you go through. Even though I had suspicions, I still once I heard those words, and he was definitely diagnosed with autism. It was hard. You grieve the child and those dreams you had for your kid, like, oh, he's going to be a baseball player, maybe he'll be a doctor, and then you get that diagnosis, and you're like, I hope he's able to function when I'm not with him anymore.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that is so huge. So as a school administrator, or when I was on the PERT team, that's in preschool, that first step of maybe telling a parent there's something atypical about the development of their child, maybe they weren't aware of. I think that's important to keep in mind. That it's okay to go through that grieving process as a parent. It's okay to go through the denial process, just not for too long. Because
but you have to come to terms with it.
You do, but there are support groups out there. Getting schools. I know Millville has one for kiddos on the spectrum. So just make sure that you're not going through it alone. You're not alone. Not just autism, but any mental or physical disability too. Find your people, find your support group, and lean on them, lean on each other, because that's a hard mind shift to think, you know, what is their future going to look like? What is it going to look like 5 years, 10 years from now? You know, will they be with me forever? What happens when I'm gone? So, you know, those are all things that, you know, haunt you at night as a parent, that keep you up all night.
Yeah, I know. My friend Jess has her son BB, and she, you know, she's always like processing. He's graduated high school, but he's in the extended high school program, like you were saying. So he definitely goes there, and she, you know, she's always using her village and finding her village and making sure she advocates for him, and just knowing like he's in the house with you like forever. So
Yeah.
that's always things you have to really, you know what I mean, think about.
Right.
And with Josh, like Josh was always like our little bubble boy, is what we didn't know what to call him. We was like, oh, he just lives in his little bubble by himself and he doesn't want to bother with us. So that's kind of what I called him. And just to see him flourish from not talking or lining his little cars up, and you know, if you move a car, then like all hell breaks loose. But to go from that to, you know, singing and plays and
I know.
music, he's so amazing. So it's just encouragement that you aren't, you know, boxed in so much, that there is like some kind of, you know, light at the end of somebody's tunnel. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you guys have questions, put them in the comments. Oh, Kat, what did Dee Dee say? Kat, you still grieve for the things our kids go through, just like you want to fight the bullies and etc.
Very true.
Yeah, she's saying Josh still gets bullied at college and stuff like that. So you do have to, you know what I mean? That was another thing I wanted to say to parents. Parents, teach your kids about bullying so that way they are not the bully in school. Teach them that other kids have challenges, right? They have disabilities. So that way, when they see kids with these things, they're not like, you know, you can stare because you're not understanding, but let them know like these kids are out here. They're kids too. They want friends,
And
right?
you,
They want to play.
those bullies were probably bullied by someone else. And that's why, you know, doing inclusion is so important, to have, you know, kids with disabilities in the preschool classroom. So they're growing up with, you know, in your kindergarten rooms, in your first grade, not to have, you know, that separation, having kids of all cultures and ethnicities, abilities. That's how we teach empathy. That's how we teach, you know, understanding. That's how we teach acceptance. And, you know, I feel very blessed to have been a teacher in an inclusion room. And currently my district, we're a very diverse district. I think we have 52 or 53 languages spoken in our entire district. And we're a large district, and just all of the differences. And you know, we're really trying to do inclusion the way it needs to be done. That's one of our most important things, is how can we improve? We have a meeting every month called the Inclusion Circle. How can we improve the experiences for our students, and how can we make sure that, you know, our typical kids are learning the lesson of empathy and acceptance. And then, you know, our kiddos that have the disabilities, you know, do they have good models in those classrooms that they can model after? So, you know, it's a really important thing to teach kids. And I saw a video that really struck me. It was a teacher, and every day she started out her classroom with affirmations, but her last one was she always said, remember, if somebody can't change something in 30 seconds about themselves, we don't bring it up. If it's not your shoes untied, can they do that in 30 seconds? Yes. You know, blow their nose in 30 seconds. Yes. Change their weight, their hair, their color of their skin, the way their eyes look. No, we can't change that in 30 seconds. We don't bring that up.
That's so profound though, because it's so true.
Yeah.
If you cannot change something in 30 seconds, then we shouldn't bring it up, because I think the inclusion is we're all different. Everyone's different. We all look different. We all act different. Like you
Yeah.
said, it's 57 languages.
50, I
That's
think
a
3 in my district. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a lot, and everyone just isn't gonna. And I always, lazy Americans, we speak American. Like we are not the most bilingual country. A lot of other countries, they're like dual language, 3, 4
Yeah.
languages.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
we're the ones who are behind.
In New Jersey, we actually just made the shift. We're not even talking about bilingual anymore. We're having kids who are coming to our schools who are multilingual. And the first question parents ask is, should I not speak, my native language to them at home, because I'm afraid it's going to delay their English language learning. And we're like, oh my gosh, no, please. Like, I have families who speak Haitian and French and are trying to learn English and sometimes Spanish, because all of those cultures are, found in that country. So we're like, absolutely, speak it, speak it, speak it. Kids will pick it up quickly. They're not like adults. Adults take longer. It's harder. But speak it, because once they're multilingual, when they're older, they're going to be fluent in those languages, and the opportunities they're going to have in all fields, no matter where they go or what they're doing, it's going to benefit them and serve others too.
You're multilingual, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the job opportunities from there. Plus, if you're in whatever specific type of field.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always try to do a couple words in Spanish, Espanol, around the house with the with the grandkids. They'll be like, "All right, we're talking Spanish for like 5 minutes." So I have to get my little phone out and do some interpretation. But they want to learn.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, we'll put it on the TV and sit down on YouTube and that type of thing and learn together. If you guys have questions, Kat, you are a wealth of information. I know I keep saying that, but you are really full of a lot.
I've just had.
Mike Sherberco said hi.
Oh, hello, Michael. Happy birthday.
So IEPs, they will learn about. And you want to give it like a rough synopsis of what we talked about?
Sure. So IEPs are when your student has a learning disability. And as long as they meet the criteria, which would be needing some type of related services or educational support, you can always, as a parent, I don't know if I said this, as a parent, you don't have to go through always like the school or the doctor. If you feel that something isn't right, you have the right to request a CST eval to see if they meet the criteria. So as a parent, you do have that right to request that. 504's are for those physical and mental disabilities. And you do need to meet some criteria, but that would be from, your pediatrician or your eye doctor, ENT, whatever that disability is, just saying, hearing loss. And then, you're going to sit down. It's usually with your guidance counselor for a 504 and develop those plans with them.
IEPs, 504s. Everyone have. Do you guys have that? This was like, and so IEP is just not autism, right?
No.
Because we said that.
Right.
It is dyslexia and what else?
There's hundreds, not hundreds, but there's a lot. So there's it's anything that's not physical or mental that is a learning disability, an actual learning disability. It could be dysgraphia, it could be dyslexia. Sometimes it could be drawing a blank.
That's a lot though.
It is.
Dyslexia.
I want to give them some accurate information.
Mr. Producer is over here. Y'all keep me in prayer. Let's get Mr. Producer to go sit down. Yeah. So, Dee Dee has a question. She said, how do you request a 504 for a job? Do you go to HR or how does that work? Or is that
Usually, it's usually a doctor is going to write that for, not the 504, but they'll just say you have a disability.
That like the ADA, American Disabilities
You
Act?
need probably accommodations. That I'm not real sure about that, but I know it is available just from being in a workplace. But I would think HR is where you would start after the doctor.
After your doctor. Don't go to HR. HR is not your friend. HR works for the business people. We've learned that. HR does not work for the employees.
Make sure you
HR
go to
works
your doctor and then advocate for yourself.
You said you have some, you will later on put in some links.
Yes, that's what I was kind of looking for. But so I think some of the more important things would be, also not just in the school, but Perform Care is another valuable resource. Actually, we use Perform Care for Quinn. And it's anytime a child is, they kind of call it like in a crisis, but like extreme behaviors. Like Quinn was eloping, which means a lot of kids with ASD elope, meaning they're trying to get away from the adult, whether it's out of a classroom or out of the house, or unsafe behavior, like he would climb the outside of our spiral stairs. So we called Perform Care, and we had an in-home therapist come. So there's just a plethora of resources out there for parents, and I don't think they're that known. I didn't, as an educator, I didn't hear Perform Care until I was 20 years into education. So, I think that's important. So I'll put some of those community resources, and that is free. I mean, you do submit your insurance information, but that is through the state of New Jersey. And they just offer so many services. They really do. And they keep up with you. Even after you're discharged, you're still kind of on that. You still have a case number in case, you need resources again. So there's just a lot of advocacy, community resources. But I can't say enough. The most important thing is to be involved with your child's education and contact with your teacher.
Yes, you've been preaching that tonight.
Yes.
Communication and staying in contact with the teacher. Like that is imperative as a parent. Like you have to.
Yes.
And like Wayman said, it's a partnership. And it really is. That's a good way of saying it. It's a partnership. Because you're there, you're with the kid. And 9 times out of 10, that same group, right, they're going to continue to go on with the kids as they go up in age in the school year.
Yes. And I honestly, I still keep in touch with a lot of my families. I still remember my kids from my first class I ever had. I remember them. So it's crazy, 31 years ago, I still remember their first and last name, their little faces. They really impacted, my life and my life choices. So
even parents, if the parents are watching or guardians are watching, and you have some resources and tools to put in the comments, I want you to put it in the comments so that way go copy and paste it while we're here or when we get off. So that way, this is the neutral zone. So everyone can come back here and find the resources. So I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Kat. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having
Thanks
me
for coming on, girl.
You're welcome. We need to go do spin class.
No, so y'all don't know. So Kat, me and Dee did spin class in Kat's basement, honey. Now Kat was the spin teacher. Man, let me tell y'all, you want to get on the spin bike and she in there and down and up and spin. Body done. Tired, exhausted. It was, I want to say that was like the most thrilling. We were exhausted, but let me tell you, you got this body together, baby.
I missed it. I missed doing it with you guys.
I know. It was such a fun time.
It was.
It was like
I was going to a club with my girlfriends. It was fun.
Like turn the music up.
Yeah, we
had
fun. It was a
good time. You need, right? You got your wheels not what they used to be. But yes, Kat was a spin teacher, so don't sleep on Kat, honey. But yes, Miss my school administrator, I am so proud of you and so proud of your journey.
Oh, thank you. I'm proud of your journey.
Thank you.
I want to be you when I grow up.
Listen,
no, you've inspired me. You really did. Our conversations. We've had a lot of good conversations. Most of them were probably after spin or before spin, but or when I was just watching you and Ron do your live.
Guys, this is where Bella came from, everyone.
Oh
yes, Bean, God rest her soul.
Yeah. Oh.
So Bean came from Kat's sister. So
yeah.
So this is like this is our. You gave Bean a hand clap.
Yeah, she deserves it.
She's such a beautiful girl.
Baby.
Bella, yeah. So that's where our Bella came from. So so this Kat didn't just pop out the air, people. Kat's been around a long time. So thank you for coming on. Thank you. I always want to thank you for whoever comes on as a guest for just supporting my vision and being willing to come on and share your knowledge. So if you are watching, I ask that you share. She said a moment of silence. Yes. I ask that you guys share this stream after it's over. As always, I am here. Today you got encouraged. Today you got enlightened, informed, right? And you have so much information here. Like that's what we're here for. We are here to give you the information. Some information you really just don't even know. So that's what we're here. We're here. Just giving me all these little papers. So next week, I want you guys to tune in. Wait, I have some announcements to do. You're moving too fast. We have announcements. It's like church announcements. We have back to school giveaways. So that's what I want to talk about. Some back to school giveaways. We have my magical moment. Where is this?
Sure.
It's a back to school bash, August 31st, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. at Stewart's Drive-In on Delsea Drive. They are giving away school supplies and treats. School supplies and treats. That is August 31st. What day is that? Oh, that's Saturday.
Tomorrow.
No. Saturday.
Okay.
That's Saturday.
Okay.
Thank you. We also have, where's the one for there's a book bag giveaway.
It's up.
Oh, yes. Free book bag giveaways. Free back to school supply giveaway at No Limits Boxing Academy in Cape May County, and is sponsored by the NAACP on Friday. Tomorrow. That's tomorrow from 4 to 6 p.m. So go get your free stuff. The teachers right here, school administrator, she wants y'all to have a lot of these little notebooks, some pens, a lot. They're like, come in here with all, because your tax dollars isn't doing all of this. It's just paying for the teachers and no free lunch. Can we get sidebar, Kat? Free lunch, girl. What you think?
Yeah.
Wow.
My district gives free breakfast. We
Catch yourself up.
Yep. Yes.
Amazing. Because I'm always like, it's the law, the kids have to go to school. Why are you not feeding them? And we all know, like, if you're hungry, you're so distracted, stomach hurting, you cannot learn
That's
when you're hungry.
we don't know. We just don't know who that might be the only food they get,
And that's so true, Kyle, because the struggle was real some years ago. So yes, yes. What else do we have? Oh, we have a free dog and cat vaccine clinic. Vaccine clinic is September 14th on Delsey Drive. Every Saturday. You said it's every Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
The producer said it's every Saturday. It starts September 14th.
It's like November.
Till November. Look it up. That's what's coming. Oh, one of my favorite events. Valzano Winery Festival is coming on September 21st. That is in Vincenttown. Y'all, I've been. It's amazing. You have to go. You can't bring like a big tent. You have to bring like a little table and your chairs. But there's food. There's all of this wine that's out there. Not just Valzano. There is a lot of other wines. And they give you a little cup. And then you sit. And you go around all the tents. And by the time you get to tent 10, you go sit down with your little grapes and cheese. And then you get back up after half an hour. And then you go back around and you hit it one more time. But there's food trucks and there's bands and stuff. So that's a really cool event if you want to make like a little girls' day out of that. Not done. Thank you. There's also Violent Food Truck on Sunday, September 8th. And some ladies' night. There is ladies' night. I guess there's ladies' night at KC Ray's at 6 p.m. on Thursdays. I won't be there. I'll be here. Why are you advertising something when we're supposed to be here? My God.
After the show.
About to fire this producer. Why are you telling people to go over there? Next week. Thank you, Kat. Next week we have our resident therapist is here, y'all. Next week, Jen is here. Let me go find out. Y'all know what we're gonna talk about. We're talking about the post. Let me go find the post first. We are talking about the post that we're talking about boundaries. We're back to boundaries, and we're going to talk about that stuff. Boundaries in your family. Like we're going to have to implement some, right? Even boundaries with our kids, right? So this is another thing for advocating. We have to be able to let our kids advocate to their parents, right? Because how are you going to teach them to defend themselves if they can't do it at home? So when your kids are trying to advocate for themselves at home, understand with an open mind. Don't he's fired. I'm looking for a new producer. And let your kid advocate. Let them advocate at home, right? Keep an open mind. I want your parents to do that. I mean, don't let them be disrespectful and all the rest of that, but most definitely let them advocate at home. But that is all the time we have. We want to thank, yes. All in the comments, they're saying thank you. Everybody in the comments, give Kat a round of applause. Please. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
You have really blessed us with your information, with your knowledge, with your presence. Like you have such a beautiful spirit. It's a little light over top of you. But yes, all right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Next week, we are on 9-5 at 6:30. We have Jen Owens. She'll be back. We're going to talk about, I think she's coming back 2 weeks in a row. I think we're doing part 2. We're going to talk about a lot of family dysfunctions. I'm gonna need y'all here because we're going to be here. So I hope that and pray that you were empowered, encouraged, enlightened, and informed by our episode. As always, my feet are planted and my head is lifted. And I love you all. Tune in next week. After we tune off, y'all share this live. It's a lot of information in here. Share the live. Get some views. Share with your friends. Kat, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, honey. It was so nice spending the night with you. Missed you.
We got to bring our spend the night bag. I know. I need to come to your house.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I know. We always say this, but listen, this is what happens. But we have to be intentional, right?
Yes.
And set a date.
Yes.
I'm gonna talk to you once we leave this live, girl.
All right. But Deanna has to come too.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.